Hello and welcome to the Area Key Getting Started guide for identifying a dealer's signature. Now this video continues from the last videos in this series, and if you haven't already watched them yet, I recommend that you head over to the Area Key Getting Started playlist and start at the beginning. Now in our last video we learned how to identify if a dealer is being consistent, meaning a dealer who spins the ball from the correct area and who also spins the ball and the wheel at a consistent speed. Now, as I mentioned in my last video, a consistent dealer does not mean that they have a dealer's signature, but you will not find a dealer with a signature if they are not being consistent. So let me explain a little bit about what a dealer's signature actually is. So a dealer's signature is essentially a pattern that emerges from certain dealers who show consistency in their spins. So it's more common to find a dealer's signature in seasoned dealers who have been dealing roulette for many years. And this is simply because those dealers are unconsciously competent. Now, if you think about it, when you first learn to drive a car, everything is new and it requires a lot of mental energy to perform the task. But over the years, it becomes second nature. You don't have to consciously think how to change gear, you just do it. And it's the same for seasoned roulette dealers. They can simply switch off and get into their own rhythm. So let's take a look at a few examples of a dealer's signature so that you can fully understand what to be looking for when using the tools from roulettecalculators.com. Okay, so starting off the examples, let's look at what would be an ideal scenario, something that you should be looking for. And as you can see here, we've got both graphs on the table there. With top graph is showing you the depth count. That means how many times a particular depth. So it's showing you the amount of results a particular depth has come out. So you can see a 0 depth is showing 4. That means that 4 results were a 0 depth. And that means it's gone from the highlighted section to the highlighted section. So that's the area key, what we're looking for. The reverse area key is if it's missing the highlighted section. Okay, so the second graph that you can see is depth of wins. Now that's showing you the wins in real time. So you can see that the last result was 0. That means it landed on the highlighted section. Before that, 0. And actually the one there where you can see number 3, that was the first entry logged. So that is actually the starting point, the marker, which is technically a 0 as well. So in this case, he's had 4 results and all of them have gone to a depth of 0, meaning the highlighted section. So it looks like he's gone straight in with the bet on the highlighted section. Now, as both myself and Sam, whose video we're watching, states, it's a good idea to get at least 10 results. So in this depth of win section, you want to see 10 results, and that's going to give you a much better idea if that dealer has a particular signature. But Sam's just jumped straight on here, and you can see that's only after 4 results really, including the last win. So he's gone on the highlighted section on this one. So he's covering the number 14 and 9 to the left and 9 to the right using the area key. Now, I remember watching this and I believe that he gets this incorrect. So you can see number 27, which is actually in the unhighlighted section. So that's actually gone against what everything's saying because it's had 4 results showing that it's gone to the highlighted section. Now, all of a sudden, it's landed on the unhighlighted section. So in this case, Sam does what you should do as well, and that's evaluate the table. So don't make any bets now. Just make sure that that is actually a dealer's signature and that was an unlucky spin, okay, because it's the majority that we're trying to cover. So what Sam will do now is watch this result instead of placing a bet, just so we can just double check to make sure that this dealer has got a signature before he continues playing. So he wants to see it land in that highlighted section because that's what the data on the graphs is saying to us, is this dealer is favoring the highlighted section of the wheel, the standard area key. So he wants to see it land after 0, and as you can see, it's going along and it's gone to number 17, which is nicely in that highlighted section. So it's up to you if you want to watch again just to make sure, or if you want to place your bet. Now, in this case, I believe Sam does place a bet. He's going straight on number 17, which you can see there, and he's dropping his stake down. So again, if you are playing higher stakes, it's a good idea to drop the stakes down if you see some sort of a change in the pattern that the dealer is showing you. So in this case, he's dropped the stake down to £2 per number, And again, he really wants to see it land on that highlighted section. So that's where he's covering all of those green highlighted numbers. And we'll just watch to see if that comes in. And as you can see, it's gone to number 13, which is really nicely in that side. So this dealer does show that she's really favoring that highlighted section of the table. Now, this video has already been played in one of my gameplay sessions, but really I want to be showing you what to be looking for in this graph. Now, I'm going to skip through a little bit like this. I know it was a very successful session for Sam. So I just wanted to really show you what the graph is saying. Now you can see he's gone from 500 up to 900 and also he's I believe he's had 100% success rate on this. So there you go. You can see that that first result there went to a depth of 1. That's the one that we watched when it went to number 22, which was a miss. And then of course Sam watched it again and it landed on the highlighted, which means that depth of 1 comes out. And then it moves on to the next result, which is 0, meaning it's gone to the highlighted section again. And then you can see it's just stayed on that highlighted section. So this is an ideal scenario for when using the area key. You want to see a table like this with lots and lots of zeros with the occasional ones. Now, that's the ideal scenario for the area key. I'm just going to skip through to the end of the session so we can actually see the actual, there you go. You can see a dealer change is happening just there. So let's have a look at the graph. And as you can see there, he's had just one instance where it went to the unhighlighted section, and then the rest have all been on that highlighted section, which you can see reflects in the depth count at the top. It's saying a depth of 0 10 times, a depth of 1. It says 2, but we minus 1 because that first entry showed the depth of 1. So that basically means that we've got 11 scenarios where it's gone to a depth of 0, meaning the highlighted section, and only one scenario when it's gone to the unhighlighted section. So that's a solid dealer's signature. If you find a dealer like that, you're in good hands. So, but also keep an eye on them because they do change. I found dealers that have had a very good solid signature, and then they changed it from, instead of hitting the highlighted section, they was hitting the unhighlighted, but consistent as well. So keep an eye on, and the idea behind the calculators, it's just showing you the dealer's history. So do make sure that you keep analyzing that table and make sure that you find a solid signature. And if you don't, it's time to leave the table. But we're going to look at another example now, where we're looking at the opposite. This was the area key, which is the highlighted section. But if the dealer is still being consistent but landing on the opposite side, that would then mean it's the reverse area key, meaning the unhighlighted section. So I'm going to find a video and we can watch that and have a look at the graphs together in that so you can see the flip side on this particular strategy. Hi and welcome back. This is a great example of using the reverse area key and identifying it. Now I'm just going to play the video. This is another clip from Sam, and you can see there on the depth of wins count, the first entry that he's actually logged is showing a depth of 4. Now again, we minus 1 off of that because the first result is our marker point, so we always have to minus the depth, just 1 off of the first entry. So currently that is actually saying a depth of 3, and that was the result. So he's going to carry on logging this table now, but he's already seeing that the dealer is favoring that unhighlighted section of the board because the number has gone a lot higher. Obviously, we're looking for either zeros with the occasional ones, or we're looking for high numbers, which is then going to show a higher depth. Now you can see there it's currently on a depth of 1 now. That means it's missed that highlighted section yet again, which is good news for us. She seems to be favoring that unhighlighted section. So let's see what the next result brings out. And what I'll do is just skip through the video a little bit, so I won't make you watch the whole thing. But you can see now it's saying a depth of 2 there, which it means again it's missed that highlighted section, and that's showing us a depth of 2. Skip through a little bit. Now it's at a depth of 3, so you can see again she's missed that highlighted section. So she really is favoring the unhighlighted section, which is up there. Sorry, everything's in reverse. It's crazy, but yeah. So this is exactly what you're looking for when using the reverse area key. Now you have to pay attention to this section here where it says the depth count, because it will not update the graph until the highlighted section comes in. So once it lands on the highlighted section, whatever result is in there gets transferred into the graphs below. So if you're at a table and you're tracking one and you're seeing that the graph isn't updating, make sure that you check out this depth, because if that's saying like a depth of 7 or a depth of 8, then you know that dealer's just hammering that unhighlighted section, which could be a really good opportunity for you. But if you're not seeing the graph updating, you might miss out on that opportunity. So make sure you keep an eye on that depth count there. So we're going to scroll through a little bit more. And now you can see it's gone to a depth of 0. So it means that that highlighted section has finally come out. And that means it's been transferred into these graphs here. So you can see that the first result, obviously we -1 was a depth of 3. And then the second result is showing a depth of 3 as well. So that means it's missed that highlighted section 3 times and then landed on the highlighted section. And then the next result has missed the highlighted section again 3 times and then landed on that highlighted section. So in this case, you would want to be putting your neighboring bets on the unhighlighted section, and you'll get the loss every time the number clears out. So you get 3 wins and then you'd have a loss, and then you would have got 3 wins and then you would have had a loss if you're just doing flat betting. So let's go through and have a little look, see if it carries on. So it looks like it's gone to a depth of 1 again. So as I can show you there, it's not updating the graph yet because it's currently on a depth of 1. Scroll for a bit more, and that's gone to a depth of 2. So again, it's missed that highlighted section. A little bit further. Now that highlighted section's come out. So that means it's gone to the unhighlighted section, and then to the highlighted section. So if you was making a flat betting, you would have got 2 wins and 1 loss in that particular scenario. So let's carry on and see if she carries on with this. So again, she's gone to a depth of 1. She's hit that unhighlighted section. That's gone to, well, you can see there it's showing the result from before. So a depth of 3, depth of 3, depth of 2. And it looks like, yeah, it went to a depth of 2 there, and then it looks like the highlighted sections come out again. So it would have been the same scenario. You've got a win, then a loss if you were flat betting. So let's carry on. So you can see there, depth of 3, 3, 2, 2. So this is good. We do like to see the numbers high. You'd like to see like a depth of 7, a depth of 8, a depth of 3, then a depth of like 5. You want to see those numbers really high. And then basically that's going to be like the previous example where it's just big strings of 0s and 1s, but on the flip side. So instead of it being the highlighted section, it will be the unhighlighted section. So let's scroll through and see if she carries on with that. Currently a depth of 1, you can see that in the graph there. And where did that went to a depth of 2 again. And then to a 0. So yeah, she's really sticking to this pattern of unhighlighted, unhighlighted, then highlighted. And then she's repeating that pattern over and over. So it does look like a pretty solid signature there. So you can see there, depth of 3, then 2, 2, 2. Now, what you don't want to see is sort of gaps in between where it'll be a depth of 0, then a depth of 2, then a 0, then a depth of 3, then a 0, and then a 0. So that's very inconsistent. With this one, you can see there's no gaps in between these. It's high number, high number, high number, high number, high number, and there's no real gaps in between, meaning it hasn't gone to the highlighted and then back to the highlighted that will break that up. So let's have a look if we scroll through. So she currently depth of 0, so it's gone to a depth of 1, then a depth of 2 again, and then a depth of 3. Okay, so you can see there currently on a depth of 3. So again, that means it's missed the highlighted section, 3 times in a row, and then I believe it hits the highlighted section on this go, which then pushes it to the highlighted. But this is where Sam ended the video, but you can see number 7 comes in, and you can see that the highlighted section was number 7, so that would have transferred that 3 into the graph below. But as you can see in the balance there, Sam went from £100 up to 200 and odd, and that's pretty much his goal. He likes to double his money on the videos. So at the end of the video is there, but you can see that that is a great signature there. If we just go back, obviously we've got that depth of 3 that will go above, but you can see there depth of 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3. So a really, really good example of when to use the reverse area key, meaning you're betting on the unhighlighted section. Now we're going to have a look at another scenario now, which is what we don't want to find, which is a inconsistent dealer, which basically they can be consistent, but they don't have a dealer signature. So the graph is all over the place, like I was explaining before. So let's take a look at that right now. So looking at this example here, you may be tempted to want to do the reverse area key, where you would be betting on the unhighlighted area of the table. However, for me, it's too inconsistent, purely because there's such variation in the numbers. Like we've got 6, 3s, 1s, and there's a bunch of zeros thrown into the mix. So it is tempting to jump on the reverse area key for this. However, it's much better to hold out and find a dealer that is either chucking out those zeros, like big blocks of zeros with the occasional 1 thrown in, or big blocks of high numbers, your 3s, 4s, and then no gaps in between, no zeros that break that up. So I really hope this video has helped you understand what to be looking for when we're looking for a dealer's signature. And the best thing that you can do is literally just play around with the calculator and track live dealers without making any bets to start with, so you can really become familiar with, is this dealer consistent? Do they have a signature or don't they? And that's the only way that you're really going to learn and become comfortable using these tools.